Welcome to English Beast. Today, we are going to listen to a story that is not just about football. It is a story about hunger when there is nothing to eat, belief when there is no support, and discipline when comfort is not an option. This is the story of a boy who could never have imagined that one day his name would be written among legends, that millions would chant his name, and that the world would recognize him as one of the greatest athletes ever born. That boy was Cristiano Ronaldo. But before the trophies, before the stadium lights, before the fame, there was a small island called Madeira. A place where life was simple, hard, and unforgiving. Cristiano was born into a family that struggled every day just to survive. His father worked as a kit man, his mother cleaned houses, and luxury was a word they never used. There were no fancy boots, no academies waiting for him, no guarantees of success. What he had instead was a ball, and a dream so powerful it refused to let him live an ordinary life. From the moment he could walk, Cristiano chased the ball like it was his destiny. Streets became stadiums. Barefoot matches became finals. Every kick was filled with emotion, urgency, and hope. While other children played to pass time, Cristiano played to escape his circumstances. Football was not entertainment, it was survival. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted something so badly that losing was not even an option in your mind? That was Cristiano Ronaldo as a child. School never mattered to him the way football did. Teachers complained. Classmates mocked him. They laughed at his accent, at his obsession, at his seriousness. But while they laughed, Cristiano trained. While they slept, Cristiano imagined himself wearing the biggest jerseys in football. Deep inside, even when he couldn't explain it, he believed his life was meant for something more. His home was small, but his dreams were enormous. Nights were filled with hunger, not just for food, but for a future. He watched matches not as a fan, but as a student. He studied movements, footwork, discipline. He didn't know the word legacy yet, but he was already building one. By the time Cristiano joined local clubs in Madeira, his intensity stood out. Coaches noticed something unusual, not just skill, but obsession. He cried when he lost. He trained harder than everyone else. He hated mediocrity with a passion that scared people. To others, he was too serious. To destiny, he was preparing. Then came the moment that changed everything. At just 12 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo left his family and moved to Lisbon to join Sporting CP's academy. A child, alone, in a new city, far from his mother, far from comfort. Nights were the hardest. Tears came quietly. Loneliness hit deeply. But every morning, he woke up and trained harder than anyone else. This was where the boy became a warrior. Repeat after me. I will endure today for a better tomorrow. Life tested him again when a heart condition threatened his career. Surgery. Fear. Uncertainty. For most, this would be the end. For Cristiano, it was just another obstacle. He returned stronger. Faster. Hungrier. And unknowingly, the boy from Madeira had already crossed the point of no return. There was no plan B. There was no retreat. Only forward. This is where legends begin, not with applause, but with pain. And this was only the beginning. Leaving home at 12 years old is not brave, it is terrifying. For Cristiano Ronaldo, it meant stepping into a world where comfort no longer existed, where love came only through discipline, and where survival depended on effort. Lisbon was loud, unfamiliar, and unforgiving. The academy at Sporting CP was filled with talented boys, all dreaming the same dream, all fighting for the same future. Talent alone was no longer enough. This was the place where dreams either hardened into reality, or quietly died. Cristiano felt the weight of separation immediately. Nights were the hardest. He missed his mother's voice, his home, the warmth of familiarity. There were moments when loneliness pressed so heavily on his chest that tears became unavoidable. But every morning, when the sun rose, something inside him rose too. He reminded himself why he was there. He reminded himself that pain was temporary, but quitting would last forever. At the academy, life was ruthless. Training sessions were intense, demanding both physical endurance and mental toughness. Coaches pushed relentlessly, expecting perfection. Mistakes were punished, weakness was exposed, and excuses were not tolerated. Many boys broke under the pressure. Some lost confidence. Some lost belief. Cristiano did the opposite. He absorbed the pressure and turned it into fuel. He was mocked for his accent. Teammates laughed at the way he spoke, the way he dressed, the way he obsessed over football. But Ronaldo did not argue. He did not complain. He trained. When others rested, he practiced. When others stopped, he continued. When others slept, he visualized himself scoring goals in packed stadiums. Let me ask you something, when the world doubts you, do you become smaller, or do you become stronger? Cristiano chose strength. He stayed after training sessions, repeating drills until his legs trembled. He practiced free kicks alone. He worked on his speed, his balance, his finishing. Every weakness became a personal enemy. Every criticism became motivation. Slowly, silently, he began separating himself from the rest. Then life tested him again. A serious heart condition was discovered, one that could end his career before it even began. For a young boy whose entire identity was football, this was devastating. Surgery was required. Fear entered his life like never before. The possibility of losing everything loomed large. But Ronaldo did not panic. He trusted the process. He trusted the doctors. Most importantly, he trusted his destiny. The surgery was successful. And when he returned to the pitch, he returned with a fire that burned even brighter. He trained harder than before, faster than before, more focused than before. The fear of losing football had taught him something priceless: nothing could be taken for granted. Repeat after me. I will never waste my opportunity. By his late teenage years, Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer just another academy player. Coaches noticed his intensity, his discipline, and his refusal to accept mediocrity. He wasn't the most naturally gifted player, but he was the most driven. And in the long run, drive always wins. Every sacrifice, the tears, the loneliness, the pain, was shaping him. Every day away from home was sharpening his mindset. Success had not arrived yet, but its foundation was already unbreakable. Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer just chasing a dream. He was becoming the dream. And the world was about to notice. There comes a moment in every extraordinary life when preparation meets opportunity, when years of silent struggle finally collide with the attention of the world. For Cristiano Ronaldo, that moment arrived not with celebration, but with pressure so intense it could crush an ordinary mind. He was no longer just a promising academy player. He was standing at the edge of global football, and one performance would decide whether he stepped forward, or disappeared into the shadows. In the summer of 2003, Sporting CP faced Manchester United in a friendly match to inaugurate their new stadium. To the world, it was just another pre-season game. To Cristiano Ronaldo, it was destiny knocking. From the first touch, he played like a man possessed. He ran relentlessly, attacked fearlessly, and challenged defenders with a confidence far beyond his age. Every dribble carried hunger. Every sprint carried belief. That night, defenders struggled to contain him, and legends on the opposing team began to take notice. By the final whistle, something extraordinary had happened. Manchester United players were no longer discussing tactics or the scoreline, they were talking about one name. Sir Alex Ferguson saw more than skill, he saw hunger, intensity, and a mindset that could be molded into greatness. Within days, Cristiano Ronaldo was wearing the red jersey of Manchester United. But talent alone does not survive in the world's biggest clubs. The pressure was immediate. A new country. A new language. A global audience watching every move. Critics were ruthless. They called him flashy, weak, overrated. They said he dribbled too much and delivered too little. And for a moment, the weight of expectation felt overwhelming. But Cristiano did not respond with words. He responded with work. Training sessions became battles. Gym workouts became rituals. He transformed his body, his pace, his strength. Every criticism became a blueprint for improvement. Every mistake became motivation. While others enjoyed fame, Ronaldo studied the game. He analyzed defenders. He refined his shooting. He turned raw talent into controlled destruction. Let me ask you something, when the spotlight hits you, do you run from it, or do you rise? Cristiano rose. Season after season, his evolution became impossible to ignore. Goals came. Assists followed. Confidence exploded. The boy once mocked for his accent was now being cheered by tens of thousands. In 2008, the transformation was complete. Cristiano Ronaldo won the Ballon d'Or, the Champions League, and multiple Premier League titles. He was no longer a prospect, he was a superstar. But behind the success was something far more important, discipline. While others relaxed after winning, Ronaldo trained harder. While others celebrated, he prepared for the next challenge. He understood something few people do: success is not a destination, it is a responsibility. Repeat after me. I will not stop when I succeed. I will stop when I am done. By the time he left Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo had proven something to the world and to himself, that greatness is not given, it is earned through relentless effort, unshakable belief, and the courage to stand tall under pressure. And yet, his journey was far from complete. Because the greatest pressure of his life was still waiting. There are transfers that change clubs, and then there are transfers that change history. When Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid, the world stopped watching football casually. Every step he took, every touch of the ball, every breath he drew was magnified under the brightest spotlight the sport had ever known. This was not just a move, it was a declaration. He was stepping into the most demanding environment in world football, where legends are expected, not hoped for, and greatness is not admired, it is required. The weight of expectation was enormous. The most expensive player in football history at the time. A club obsessed with glory. Fans who demanded perfection. Critics waiting eagerly for failure. At Real Madrid, there is no patience. No sympathy. No comfort. You deliver, or you are forgotten. Cristiano Ronaldo understood this immediately. From his very first season, the pressure was relentless. Every missed chance became a headline. Every defeat was blamed on him. Comparisons were constant. Doubt hovered in the air. But Ronaldo did not retreat. He did not complain. He did what he had always done when life became uncomfortable. He worked harder. Training sessions at Madrid became personal wars that he refined his movement, sharpened his finishing, strengthened his body even further that he studied defenders until he knew their weaknesses better than they did. He evolved from a winger into a ruthless goal-scoring machine. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Let me ask you something, when expectations become unbearable, do you crumble, or do you transform? Cristiano transformed. Goals began to flow like never before. Hat-tricks in crucial matches. Decisive goals when pressure peaked. Nights at the Santiago Bernabéu where he carried the hopes of millions on his shoulders and delivered without hesitation. Champions League matches became his stage. When others hid from responsibility, Ronaldo demanded the ball. Season after season, records fell. Fastest to 100 goals. Fastest to 200. Fastest to 300. The numbers became unreal. But behind those numbers was something deeper, a man obsessed with excellence. Victory was never enough. Improvement was always required. Repeat after me. I do not chase comfort. I chase greatness. Then came the Champions League dominance. 4 titles in 5 years. Moments that defined an era. Goals when the world was watching. Performances that turned pressure into poetry. Real Madrid was no longer just a club chasing history, it was a dynasty. And Cristiano Ronaldo was its heartbeat. But greatness is never free. It demands sacrifice. Ronaldo gave up comfort, leisure, and rest. While others enjoyed nights out, he recovered. While others relaxed, he visualized success. He lived a life of discipline so extreme that people questioned it. But discipline was his weapon. His shield. His advantage. Critics still existed. They always do. They questioned his personality. His confidence. His hunger. But confidence was not arrogance. It was self-belief built on preparation. Hunger was not ego, it was purpose. Cristiano Ronaldo was not just playing football anymore. He was redefining what it meant to be elite. By the time his chapter at Real Madrid came to an end, there was no debate left. He had become one of the greatest players to ever touch the game. Not because of talent alone, but because he refused to let pressure decide his limits. He had conquered Madrid. But his journey was still not finished. Because legends are not satisfied with one peak. They search for new mountains. Talent is often glorified, celebrated, and envied. Talent makes headlines. Talent fills highlight reels. But talent alone cannot build a legacy. Cristiano Ronaldo's story proves this truth louder than any trophy, louder than any goal, louder than any roar from the crowd. Discipline beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. At Real Madrid, Ronaldo's natural ability could have carried him far, but he refused to rely on ability alone. While other players slept, he trained. While other players enjoyed fame, he honed his body. While other players celebrated victories, he prepared for the next challenge. His life became a ritual of precision, diet, recovery, exercise, visualization, and repetition. Every detail mattered. Every second counted. Every movement had a purpose. Cristiano Ronaldo's training sessions were legendary. He would sprint faster, jump higher, strike harder. He would refine a free kick, again and again, until his foot knew the perfect angle by instinct. He studied rival defenders, watched match footage, memorized every tactical nuance. The public saw effortless brilliance, behind it was years of pain, sweat, and relentless self-improvement. Let me ask you something, are you willing to outwork everyone, even when no one is watching? Because that is where true greatness is born. Ronaldo's discipline extended far beyond the pitch. His diet was strict. No junk food. No shortcuts. Sleep and recovery were meticulously timed. He treated his body as a temple, knowing that it was the only machine capable of sustaining his dreams. Age was never an excuse. He refused to let time or circumstance dictate his limits. While most players decline after their prime, Ronaldo's body remained a weapon, his mind a fortress, and his ambition unshakable. Repeat after me. I will outwork my limits. I will control my destiny. Even in his 30s, while others slowed, Ronaldo's standards remained higher than everyone else's prime. He reinvented himself constantly, adapting to new teams, new leagues, new roles. Juventus in Italy, Manchester United again, the Portuguese national team, he refused to surrender to age or expectation. He chased improvement relentlessly. His trophies accumulated, yes, but even more importantly, his mastery over himself became legendary. Discipline became his identity. Talent made him visible, but discipline made him immortal. Each goal, each sprint, each lift of a trophy was a testament not to luck, not to casual brilliance, but to decades of unwavering commitment to craft and excellence. Behind every roar from the crowd, there were countless hours unseen, the repetition, the exhaustion, the early mornings, the late nights. He built a legacy not just with goals, but with habits. With discipline. With a mindset that refused mediocrity. Cristiano Ronaldo teaches us a lesson far beyond football: talent can only take you so far. What determines whether you are remembered, whether you dominate, whether you inspire, is how disciplined you are when no one is watching. And for those who watch, who listen, and who aspire, this is the message of English Beast: your dreams will demand sacrifice, your goals will require discipline, and your success will depend on the choices you make every single day. Cristiano Ronaldo's life proves it: work harder, train smarter, live deliberately, and greatness will follow. Even the greatest are tested, not by applause, not by victory, but by adversity. Cristiano Ronaldo's journey is not just a story of triumph, it is a story of resilience, of facing failure, hate, and doubt, and refusing to let them define him. Every legend is forged in moments of darkness, and Ronaldo's life is proof that setbacks are not the end, they are the crucible in which greatness is formed. Despite his talent, despite his records, despite the trophies, Ronaldo faced critics from the very beginning. They doubted him. They questioned his dedication. They mocked his style, his confidence, even his personality. At times, the media painted him as arrogant, overhyped, or self-obsessed. Fans turned against him. Commentators dissected his every mistake. And yes, there were times when he fell short, missed penalties, lost finals, unexpected defeats that left him heartbroken. But what separates a legend from the rest is not avoiding failure. It is rising every single time, stronger and wiser. Cristiano Ronaldo understood this deeply. In Euro 2016, his nation's pride rested on his shoulders. Portugal reached the final, but during the match, Ronaldo was forced off the pitch early due to injury. The dream of victory seemed shattered. Most players would have been defeated. Most leaders would have faded. But Ronaldo remained. He became a presence on the sidelines, a motivator for his teammates, a source of strength even when he could not play. And when Portugal lifted the trophy, the tears in his eyes were not just from joy, they were from perseverance, from resilience, from the proof that failure is temporary, but determination is eternal. Let me ask you something. When the world criticizes, when you stumble, when obstacles appear insurmountable, do you hide, or do you rise? Ronaldo chose to rise. Time and again, he faced hate and doubt. Critics said he could not maintain his level into his 30s. Fans argued that he was finished. His team struggled. There were injuries. There were moments when nothing went right. And yet, Ronaldo's response was the same as always: work harder, train longer, push further. Behind the goals, the trophies, and the headlines was a man committed to resilience. Failure was not a signal to quit, it was a signal to improve. Criticism was not a reason to despair, it was fuel. Every challenge was a chance to grow, and every moment of doubt was an opportunity to prove himself again. Repeat after me. I will rise every time I fall. I will turn criticism into fuel. I am unstoppable. Ronaldo's resilience was not limited to football. It shaped his character, his mindset, his approach to life. It taught him leadership. It taught him humility. It taught him that the only opinion that truly matters is the one you hold about yourself. He became a figure who inspired millions, not just for his brilliance on the pitch, but for his refusal to surrender in the face of adversity. In every defeat, in every setback, Ronaldo found lessons. In every taunt, he found motivation. In every painful loss, he found a reason to fight harder. This is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Ordinary people are defeated by failure. Legends like Cristiano Ronaldo are defined by how they respond to it. And as he stood on the pitch, lifting trophies, breaking records, and cementing his place in history, the world saw the result, but few saw the pain, the struggle, the invisible battles. That is what makes him more than an athlete. That is what makes him a legend. That is what makes his story a roadmap for anyone seeking greatness. Cristiano Ronaldo teaches us that failure is not final, hate is not permanent, and resilience is your greatest weapon. For those willing to endure, willing to rise, willing to persist, nothing is impossible. Every story has an ending, but the story of Cristiano Ronaldo is more than a tale of matches, goals, and trophies. It is a testament to the power of mindset, discipline, and relentless ambition. From the narrow streets of Madeira to the grandest stadiums in the world, his journey reminds us that circumstances do not define destiny, decisions, effort, and courage do. Ronaldo's life is proof that greatness is not born, it is built, brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. Cristiano Ronaldo is more than an athlete. He is a symbol of perseverance, resilience, and obsession with self-improvement. Talent gave him a foundation, but it was discipline that created an empire. Hunger carried him through sleepless nights. Sacrifice molded his character. Failure strengthened his resolve. Criticism sharpened his focus. And through it all, he never allowed excuses, complacency, or comfort to dictate his limits. Even now, as he continues to play at an elite level into his late 30s, Ronaldo's story demonstrates that age is never a barrier when the mind and body are aligned with purpose. Records that seemed untouchable fall before him. Goals that seemed impossible become milestones. He does not compete merely against others, he competes against himself, always seeking improvement, always striving to be better than he was yesterday. Let me ask you something, do you push yourself when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when the world has not yet noticed your potential? Because that is where greatness is truly forged. Repeat after me. I will be better than I was yesterday. I will chase excellence relentlessly. I am unstoppable. Ronaldo's story also teaches the power of vision. From his earliest days, he imagined a life beyond poverty, beyond limitations, beyond doubt. That vision guided him, fueled him, and inspired him to take risks that others would never consider. Leaving home at 12, enduring injuries, facing criticism, and challenging expectations, all of it was guided by a clarity of purpose that never wavered. He knew who he wanted to become, and he refused to let anything, fear, pain, or negativity, distract him from that path. But perhaps the greatest lesson from Cristiano Ronaldo's life is that success without impact is incomplete. His story inspires millions not only because of the goals he scored or the trophies he lifted, but because it shows what human potential can achieve when fueled by resilience, sacrifice, and discipline. Every child who dreams of greatness, every adult striving to rise above obstacles, every person fighting silently against doubt, Ronaldo's life says, you can do it too. His legacy is not limited to records or accolades. It is embedded in the mindset he embodies, a mindset that believes in relentless effort, in mastering oneself, and in refusing to be defined by circumstance. That is why Cristiano Ronaldo will not be remembered just as a footballer, but as a blueprint for anyone who dares to dream, work, and persist. From a boy who once kicked a worn-out ball on the streets of Madeira to a global icon whose name is synonymous with excellence, Ronaldo's life is proof of one timeless truth: discipline beats talent, resilience defeats adversity, and mindset determines destiny. And here on English Beast, remember, every story you hear carries lessons for your own journey. Cristiano Ronaldo's story is not just about football, it is about the power to transform your life, to rise above challenges, and to achieve the impossible. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to English Beast, because many more powerful, inspiring, and motivational stories are waiting for you, stories that will ignite your ambition and remind you of what you are capable of.